What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? In this video, I'm going to be showing you what to expect your first 90 days selling final expense insurance. This is going to be the raw truth, the brutal truth, the truth that you don't want to hear, but you need to hear before you get into this. Now, if we haven't met yet, my name is Tim Shooker. I've been in the insurance industry for the last 3.5 years. I post these free videos on YouTube, on the Life Insurance Agent Sales channel, to basically help insurance agents like yourself make 6 figures over the phone. So I've been on the selling side of insurance. I started getting into selling final expense insurance face-to-face. I've been on the marketing side of insurance and the coaching side. So I've seen a lot of the different aspects of the industry. I've also been in the industry for quite some time. And from that, I've realized that when people get in, they don't realize these things. And these are the things that really smack people like an 18-wheeler coming out of nowhere. And so I really want you to know them before you get into this. So your first 90 days. I'm going to kind of map this out and draw this out on a whiteboard so that you guys can, a digital whiteboard. But I'm going to, kind of show you guys, I'm going to list things out and then I'm going to explain how this whole thing works so that you can be best prepared in your first 90 days, right? So what I see oftentimes is, first I want to reset your expectations, because the way that most people sell this business is this little flag is 6 figures, right? And then this is you, and it's just going to be a smooth walk all the way to 6 figures, right? That's what they tell you. So this is what most people come into the industry expecting. But in reality, this is more so what it looks like. And then there's a crazy forest of, lions and tigers and bears and all this stuff. And then there's 6 figures, right? So in reality, there's a lot of obstacles in your way, and there's a lot of stuff that you're going to have to deal with that you don't realize, right? It's actually pretty treacherous, the path to 6 figures. It's not impossible. It's very simple. It's actually one of the most simple industries to make 6 figures in. But there's a lot that you're going to have to learn. There's a lot you're going to have to figure out. And it's definitely not going to be this. Okay, let me just make that very clear. It's not going to be simple. You're going to have to figure a lot of things out. You're going to have to cross, the cavern of despair and climb a mountain and then go down that mountain and then cross, you guys get the point, right? There's a lot that goes into it. So the first thing that I want you guys to expect is this to be a lot harder than you think, right? Harder than you think, okay? When I got into the industry, I didn't have a ton of sales experience. I had done solar door to door. And honestly, for me at least, the sales was not the hard part. It was more so the back end of managing the clients. And the reason why is because the lead source that I was working, right? This is one thing that you'll learn, is that the quality of your clients and the quality of your business, a lot of it comes off of the lead source, right? If you think about, let's say I was building a city, right? And I could pick 2 different rivers to put my city by. If I put my city by a river that's contaminated and there's some company upstream dumping toxic waste into it, and there's a group of people from my city that go upstream and they poop in the river, and then everyone in my city is drinking from this stream of water, I'm not going to have a healthy city. People are going to be dying left and right of cancer and, E. coli and whatever, right? So if I have a poisoned water source, whatever is drinking that water source is going to be bad. Versus if I build a city next to a, clean, pristine water source, it's coming straight off of the snow from a mountain. Everyone's drinking it and they're lively and healthy and they feel great. And, everyone is doing great and they're hydrated. Great, right? And the analogy that I'm making there is your water source is your lead source. So if you're drinking from a terrible lead source, everything that comes downstream of that is going to be bad, right? Whereas if I have a good lead source, everything that comes downstream of that is going to be good. Now that doesn't mean that every single lead is going to be a guaranteed close, but it does mean that the quality of my clients is going to be higher, right? It all stems from the lead source. And so the lead source I was working was free Walmart gift card leads. And so these were basically people that had sent in a mailer to literally get a free Walmart gift card. It's exactly what it sounds like. So they would send in a mailer and say, hey, send this back for a free Walmart gift card. And so we'd go out to the house with the mailer in hand and the gift card, and we would actually sell these people policies, but they wouldn't keep them, right? So that was the hard part for me, is chargebacks, which I think a lot of people are not prepared for, because most businesses don't have these, right? Like if you sell a car, the client is screwed because they now have the car. Like you don't really get a chargeback. Or solar, like once they install the solar panels on your house, like there's no chargeback there. You got your commission. But with insurance, you have to kind of like vet your clients, and you have to write good business, right? The incentives are more aligned for the company and the agent because of the chargebacks. But that also means that you have more risk. So you can't just go and sell, everybody and their mom and just get paid and then go and screw off and move to Mexico. You actually have to make sure that the clients you're selling are quality. You have to make sure that they can afford it, and you have to make sure that they actually pay your bill so that you get paid. So most people are not prepared for the chargebacks, right? The best way to prepare for this is really just like, I would stay away from card business, right? Don't write card business unless it's like Direct Express and AIG and you have to. But I've talked to a lot of people where like a quarter of their business is people with Direct Express cards. Like get a bank account and you will have much less issues with chargebacks. And then also just making sure that people can actually afford it, right? Don't try to sell them the highest price. Sell them something they can afford. And that will help you a ton, right? So chargebacks is definitely something to keep an eye on. And a lot of that, realistically, like if you have a quality lead source where people are actually looking for insurance, you're not going to have as many chargebacks as if you have free Walmart gift card leads. So that's something to that's definitely something to keep in mind there. Now, the other thing to expect is you need to put in a lot more activity and a lot more output than you probably think, right? A lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to, hit the phones and make $100 a day. And they're like, $100, that's so many. You're going to have to, like in the beginning, you're having to overcome a learning curve. And so the fastest way to do that is to just outwork everyone else, right? Alex Ramosi says, like, if you're a brand new salesperson and you're coming on, find out what the top person is doing and then double their activity, right? I'm not going to tell you to double their activity. I'm just going to tell you to make like $400 a day, right? If you're doing this telesales, $400, right? And don't compromise on that. $400. If like, I talk to people all the time and I'll coach them, and sometimes like I'll tell them to do less just because I know they're not going to make $400. But if you're watching this video and you're like, hey, how can I see the most success? Make $400. It's going to take you 8 or 9 hours, but like, what else are you doing? What else are you doing, right? Nothing. So make the $400, right? And make that every single day. And you will be so shocked at how much faster you get better, right? So do $400 a day and commit to activity, right? This is one of the most important things that you can do when you're getting into this industry, is committing to a certain amount of activity, because now, like, all you have to do is do that. The skill set will improve. The sales will come. Everything will come if you just have the quality lead source and then you put in the activity. So make $400 per day, and you will definitely start to see more results from that. And the thing is, like, eventually you can kind of take your gas off of take your foot off the gas with that, and move down to $200 or $250 a day. But in the very beginning, you have so much of a learning curve to overcome that somebody who's been in the industry for 6 months or a year, like, for them to make $200 a day and you to make $200, they're getting so much more out of that $200 than you are. So you have to do double the work. You have to do more work in order to have anywhere close to the same results, right? So all the people that I see that are successful doing this, they're not afraid of the hard work, and they just make the damn dials. Like, it's really not that complicated. People just don't want to call, and they don't want to have to do the work. So if you're willing to do that, and then you're willing to commit to getting better, everything else will like figure itself out, right? Now, the other thing too that I would really caution you on is making sure that you have a quality, like a really good mentor, right? A good mentor. And so when you're first getting into the industry, there's so many things that you don't know, and there's even more things that you don't even know that you don't know, right? And so a good mentor, they're going to be able to help you with underwriting, they're going to be able to help you with sales, they're going to be able to help you with finding a good lead source. And you want to find somebody that's actually done this themselves, right? So find somebody that has already seen the success that you want to see. Like if you want to write 20K a month, don't learn from somebody that's written 15K a month and that was their best month. Or don't learn from somebody that wrote, 20K 1 month. You want to learn from somebody that can consistently write that themselves and has consistently shown other people how to do the same thing, because they already know the path to where you're trying to go. And as long as you listen to them and actually take action on what they say, your chances of getting there are much higher, right? So make sure that you have a good mentor, and make sure it's somebody that can actually show you how to do what you want to do. This is very, very important, especially in this industry, even more so than like other businesses, because there's like so many moving pieces that, like, again, once you get it down, once you understand how to do it, it's not that complex. But like coming into it completely green, you really want to have somebody that can show you the ropes there, right? So find a good mentor. I also don't recommend recruiting, right? Don't recruit, because just like I was saying, find a good mentor. If you haven't done this yet, you're not going to be able to train somebody else on how to do it. I don't recommend recruiting until you've been successful in this business for at least 6 months to 1 year, right? Because now all of a sudden, if you've seen the success, the recruiting becomes so much easier. Whereas, like, picture two different scenarios. Hey, cousin Joe, I just got into this business and everyone's telling me it's going to be so great, you should join too. Versus, hey, I just made, 50K in 6 months. This is the best thing ever. You should come and do it with me. Right? That's so much more compelling, because now they know that it's already worked for you, and now they just have to make it work for themselves. So I don't recommend recruiting until 6 months to a year in, because then you're going to have a lot more results, you're going to have a lot more experience, and you're actually going to be able to help that person that you bring on, right? So don't recruit, have a good mentor. The other thing that I highly recommend is focusing on training and sales, right? So focusing on training. So basically, the best way for you to get better, I'm going to flip the page here, is you go out, right? This is kind of like, it's a feedback loop, right? So this is you. Super flattering, I know. You go out and you do a bunch of activity. And then from that, right, this is a high activity. You're doing a lot of output. You're going to find things when you're doing that output that you run into, right? And then when you run into those things, you're going to go to your mentor and get advice, right? So you're going to get advice from your mentor. And then you're going to implement that advice, right? So simple. And then you're going to do more high output using that advice. And then you're going to run into more problems. And then you're going to take them to your mentor. They're going to give you advice. And then you implement the advice. And then you do high output using the advice that you got. And then you'll find more problems. And you just repeat that cycle over and over until you are the mentor. And then you're bringing other people on that you're now training. And that's pretty much the way that it works. But again, if you don't have this high output, none of this even matters, because there's no advice for you to implement and you're not going to run into the problems. So the fastest way for you to learn is just hit the ground running, do it full force, and then have somebody that you can go to and ask questions. And it's going to become so much easier for you guys. So ladies and gents, that is what you should expect your first 90 days. That is the best way to see success the fastest in this industry. And if you guys got value from this video, leave a like, hit the subscribe button for more content like this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.